Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. Today we have a new subject and a new announcement, and I just want to let everybody kind of meet our new full-time guy here. This is Isaac, and so Jan and I met with Isaac. What was it, Isaac? About 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was mid-August.
And we knew Isaac's internship. He's not really on an intern anymore. He's been working a year and a half now, and anyway, Jan and I offered him a full-time package here about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and gave him a couple weeks to think about it. And
I had to think about it for a little while.
So he came down the house, and Jan and I kind of had a lump in our throat when he said, well, after much thought and deliberation, I've decided to. And I'm like, oh crap, here it comes. And so Isaac, you want to take it from there?
Yeah, so like you said, Greg, you and Jan offered me full-time position. I've been here since April of 2020. Yeah.
Yep.
So about a year and a half. They offered me a full-time position here, you know, for however long I'd like to stay here, and you know, working with the cattle, you know, managing the grazing and just doing the whole spectrum of what we do here. And so yeah, I decided to accept. So I'm going to be staying on at Green Pastures Farm here in the next year, couple years or whatever, and see where it takes me. I'm super excited to, you know, meet more people, host more grazing schools, you know, just develop my skills as a grazer as you know, as the years go on. And so I'm super thankful for the opportunity and looking forward to it. But,
well, Jan and I are the same way, Isaac. It's a two-way street. Anytime you have a relationship, especially on the farm, and we're working together, you know, each and every day, and it's pretty nice to have it going both ways. Mm-hmm. And so Jan and I appreciate everything that you've done for Green Pastures Farm, and you're just an outstanding individual. You know, morally, your morals are through the roof. I mean, you're an honest, hardworking young fellow, and your attitude, you know, your attitude is something that I can't teach you. You got to have that, and you've got that. And Connor's got the same attitude. I mean, Connor's a great. Jan and I pinch ourselves every day getting to work with Connor. And Connor, you're awesome, by the way. And but I'll give you the full story. Ben came up, it was about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and Ben had made the announcement to Jan and I that he was going to move on, and he kind of discovered this really wasn't what he wanted to do the rest of his life. And so September 1st, Ben headed back to Massachusetts, and some of y'all probably saw the video that he put out. And Ben is just an outstanding young fellow, and Jan and I both feel like it doesn't matter what Ben does in his future. He's the kind of guy, he's gonna make it work.
yeah, we're sad to see him go, but happy that he's, you know, figuring out what he wants to do.
Figuring out what he wants to do. And so I think, you know, he's a young man, and he didn't wait till he was 50 to decide that. He's got his whole life in front of him, and he's a very sharp young man, and he figures things out. So I don't know what he's going to do, but he'll do well at it. I can tell you that. And Ben, if you're watching this, the whole group of us, we really wish you the best, and we appreciate everything you did here at Green Pastures Farm. We're going to miss you. We were fortunate to meet your family. What a great family you have, and just all the best to you, whatever you decide to do in the future. But Isaac, we've got the grazing school coming up this week, and we just got through with sheep sales last week.
Yeah.
So it's been
it's been a busy month.
Yeah, and then before that were cattle sales. So
yeah, a lot of changes happened too. So.
Yeah, but you and Connor and Jan, you kind of handled the farm while I was gone this last weekend, and it's kind of nice to leave when you got good help. My cousins in Illinois is like, well, who's running the farm? I'm like, well, we've got a crew, you know. And so I told Isaac, you know, and that's something that I think is important, is as you go through the year, you need to get away from the farm. And I've encouraged Isaac to do that. We've offered him some opportunities to do that in his new position here. And you just can't stay on the farm 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You need to leave. And even if it's for a day or 2 days or whatever, when you come back, you just feel this power surge of regeneration almost, you know. And I don't care if you're doing this every day. it's a beautiful life, but you just need to get away from it a little bit.
Helps you appreciate it more when you come back.
Yes, exactly. So when I go onto a farm that's just a wreck on a consulting gig, and then I come back here, I'm like, whew, this is the goal, you know. So it's kind of nice to see it actually working, but it's also rewarding to go out and work with other people that are struggling and get them on the right path. And so Isaac and I will be doing some of that, and so I think that's going to be kind of neat going forward. And we've offered Isaac the opportunity, if he wants to actually build some heifers. So he's going to have the opportunity to buy some heifers each year from our herd, and so he's going to be able to build his herd alongside ours, and we're excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too.
So you're going to have some really nice heifers, and of course you don't have to buy a bull.
Yep.
You know, and you don't have to buy the grass. I mean, the farms they're here. So when Isaac goes to move the cow herd, he's going to be moving his own cows too. So you got some skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's pretty exciting. So what do you see as the most challenging thing that we face here, Isaac, on a yearly basis? I mean, some of the challenges that you've seen as a farmer, what are some of those?
Definitely calving season is a little strenuous. You know, you got whatever 20 cows calving in a day, and some of them have troubles. It becomes, you know, that span of a couple weeks when we get the heaviest calving. That's the most mentally taxing.
Yep.
I mean, the rest of the year though, like this morning, we went through the mob, counted calves, and moved them, and, you know, we were done in 30 minutes. So
yeah,
you know, the majority of the year is really pretty easy.
Well, people have this misunderstanding that we're out here all day long with the cows every single day, and they say, well, we're not going to do that. We don't have time to do that. I'm like, we're not out here with these cows all day long. How long? So you said it took us what, 30 minutes to do this?
I'd say maybe on average like an hour in the morning, an hour.
Time you set up fence.
Yeah. 2 hours a day spent, you know, just moving the cattle.
Yep.
And then setting up fence takes a little bit more, but
yeah.
What we'll do now that we've only got one herd is, you know, 1 day a week we'll, you know, round up a bunch of posts, set out, you know, 3, 4, 5 days ahead of time, you know, make a morning of it, and we can get that set up in a morning, and then the rest of the week we don't have to set up at all.
So now you're talking, each morning you're talking 20 to 30 minutes,
right.
just moving the wire.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
when you get it set up, you know, like as far as like the permanent infrastructure, when you get the farm set up the right way, it's very smooth and easy, and the cattle get trained, you know, to where they're going to be going and
yep.
how to move.
Well, talking about having infrastructure set up, I hear a lot of people out there, they're just getting started and they're hauling water. What do you think about a herd this size, you know, or any just hauling water all the time?
Yeah, it's not possible. Then you would be spending all your day with the cattle.
So do you think water infrastructure, that's pretty key, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you know, you can haul water to, you know, 10 head. You know, that's doable if that's what you've got to do. But as soon as you start getting to any kind of scale, they just drink too much and it takes too much effort. Whereas, you know, so we've got a pond up here that's going to be watering these cows on this bottom and that ridge up there.
Yep.
And they also have a creek down below that they're going to be watering from.
Over here. Yep.
And then the next paddock, they'll be watering from the creek as well. So,
yep.
And we may make a little skirt and let them water out of this pond too, just to give them extra water.
Yep. So they got water on all three sides almost. Yeah.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of work to get it set up. There's no, you know, way around that. It
right.
takes a lot of work, but it's a one-time setup for the most part if you do it right.
Well, Isaac, if I brought you into this farm and there wasn't anything here and you wanted to bring livestock onto this farm, what's the first thing that you would do?
Definitely make sure the perimeter's fenced.
What was that?
The perimeter. Make sure the perimeter has fence that can hold cattle in.
You mean you wouldn't just run a poly wire out there and turn them loose?
You do not want your cattle leaving the farm.
Why would you not do that? I mean,
as soon as
isn't poly wire a good fence?
No, not for perimeter.
Okay.
Not for perimeter.
So you need to make sure they're going to stay on the farm.
You got to keep them on the farm. And then the next thing you need to do is figure out the water system.
Yep.
Because you know, as long as you have enough temporary wire, you can make any fencing configuration. With the way we do it, any fencing configuration you need to be, so you don't have to worry about internal fences, starting out.
Yep.
Get the perimeter fence and get your water source, and then just start grazing, and you'll figure out by grazing through the property what works best as far as paddock layout and everything, and that's when you can go in and start putting in internal fence, single wire,
Yep.
poly or high tensile.
Right. Right. Well, so many people buy the livestock first and just turn them out with poly wire, and we've had some, people calling us and things. They've had some real wrecks with that, and
Yeah.
again, poly wire is not a perimeter fence.
No.
We keep stressing that. What do you think about this cow right here coming up?
Spreading some seed.
Look at that.
The hunters don't like it because all the
Stick tight.
stick tight gets in their hunting clothes, but
The cattle,
makes it legumes. It's
cattle,
good feed.
they're eating the heck out of it. It's
So
sticking all over their face.
We're happy to be spreading the seed.
That's how this seed got spread out here. It was on
Yeah.
cows, but
Well, I mean, look at how thick it is,
I know.
all around here.
I know. But it's super high quality feed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like,
It's wild soybeans.
yeah,
so
it's wild
a-
soybeans. I mean, they just eat the heck out of it, and the sheep just devour it.
These
So-
cattle are doing good right now. We've got them. We're skip grazing right now, or just tipping the grass,
Yep.
trying to grow our stockpile, and they're fat and happy. Fat in a good way.
What do you think about all this, Connor? The cattle look pretty good, don't they?
They've been getting fatter and fatter every day. We're moving them so fast they get all they want and more. So
Yeah.
it's been funny. We come out here and then we move them, and the past week probably they've just been moving slow. They're just like, yeah, okay, fine, we'll go to the next place, whatever, because they're pretty content.
Yeah.
with what they got right now.
Well, we just drove, Connor and Isaac and I just came down this ridge over here on the four-wheeler, and I'm like, did y'all graze this? I mean, it didn't look like you'd even grazed it.
They got the best out of it.
They did.
And then they left
But
the fescues and the
we're at September 7th today, isn't it?
already. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I believe
Thought
today-
it's September 1st.
Yep.
today's the 7th, and so we're in winter stockpile growing mode. So the boys took excellent care of our farms behind us while I was gone. Went back to the birthplace of the Judys in Potomac, Illinois. But the boys, I came and looked at the paddocks this morning, like, man, it looks really good. They didn't overgraze it. They just kind of took the tips off. And so we get a little bit of rain. We got an inch almost last week. If we keep getting a little bit of rain every week or two, we're going to grow a ton of winter stockpile out
And
here.
a little bit of cool weather, and it's just gonna crank.
Yep. I noticed, the bales in the background, folks, you can see those over there. We hauled those in about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and we put them on the high point on this bottom, so that'll be our winter feed supply. If we get a snowstorm or down here, ice storm, or when we get all this fescue, all the stockpile grazed off later in the winter, we can unroll that hay, and we're going to put a ton of carbon back here on this land. And so the animals get fed, you're building more soil, you're going to grow more forage, more high quality forage. And so yeah, we don't have any hay fields on our property. We buy purchased hay. And by not having hay fields, that allows you to graze every square inch. So some of our landowners, well, one of them, we graze his yard, and
Two of them.
two of them, yeah. And they like that. They like having the yards grazed. So we're all about grazing yards.
It's a economical, ecological lawnmower.
That's right.
Fertilizing lawnmower.
That's right. So you all are the future of agriculture. You're young guys. What do you all think about this petition they got going down in Oregon where it's going to be illegal to eat an animal
I think it's
unless it dies of natural causes?
it's
What do y'all think about that?
ignorance. You don't people when they get such separation from the land, from the food that they need to survive. They don't realize what it actually takes to get that steak on your plate, or what it takes, what it looks like getting the meatless burger. Like what is that actually doing, to the environment, to your health. Yeah, it's kind of angering. It makes you angry a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
If
So
you-
what's the solution? I mean, what would be your solution to that? I mean, how are we going to educate people that it is a big lie?
think it's just exposure, you know, doing what you're doing, you know, putting videos out there, spreading the message out there the best we can. You know, you've even told us stories of people that have come to the farm. You know, they've been against eating meat. You know, not for it. They came to the farm and they saw what it looks like. You know, cattle on grass. You know, helping the ecosystem, helping themselves. You know, producing healthy food, and they realized that, oh, this really is what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
You know, this is the solution. You know. So.
Yes. We had a vegetarian come here, and she was a rabid animal rights lady. I mean, to this extent that you shouldn't even keep a dog. That's being mean, keeping a dog. And anyway, she was sick. You could tell by looking at her, she wasn't healthy at all. And she came on a tour like this, and she walked out in the herd, and one of the heifers came up and licked her on the hand. And when she licked her on the hand, she had a daisy sticking out of her mouth. And the lady, something connected at that second, and she decided right then she needed to eat that animal, or she wasn't going to be alive.
Yeah.
And I saw her a year later, and she said we actually saved her life, because she's fit of health. She's eating grass-fed beef. I mean, you can't even recognize her anymore. She's just this beautiful face, beautiful skin condition. She's put weight back on. She's just a fit of health.
I can tell you that this beef is like some of the best meat I've ever had. You know, just quality and taste.
Yep.
And everything.
Yep.
It's just so good for your health. You know, it can go so far that I can even tell, like, if I eat, like, you know, like a hot dog on like a cookout or go to the restaurant or something, the next day I just feel like, you know, no energy, because we're used to eating, you know, quality meat every day.
Yep. And
I think a big part of where that idea comes from, of, you know, like, that you shouldn't be eating animals or whatnot, is because a lot of people see the confinement, you know, and see the way that, like, current farming, a lot of current farming is done. I think if this was how farming was done, like, overall, I don't think there would be even nearly that much pushback on it. Because I can kind of understand it when you see it from a confinement aspect. It's like, yeah, that's wrong. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. And so I think this.
So we're giving ourselves our own black eye, kind of.
Yeah.
The industry is.
And so, like, I think that's where a lot of that pushback comes from. So
yep, I agree.
If we could do more of this stuff, I don't think there'd be nearly as many problems.
Nope. Nope.
And if you think about it, I mean, to continue life, you have to consume life, and, you know, they're living off the plants, right? But
plants are living.
Yeah, I mean,
what'd you say, Connor? Plants are living.
Plants
I thought they were dead things. No?
Everything that gives, like you said, everything that gives life has to have, you know, life.
You have to take life to continue life, and so, and just the way we're designed, I mean, we're meant to eat plants and animals, and it's healthy to eat plants and animals for us, but like you said, if you go to a store and buy stuff from there, you feel more sluggish. If you come out here and you eat this meat, and you eat fresh, clean meat, you feel so much better. It's so much better for you. It's a different. It's really a different product. Like,
it's all the nutrient density. You know, it's a chain effect or whatever. The soil's healthy, so the cattle are healthy, so you become healthy. You know, there's a lot of density and life and good qualities of the soil, and it just, you know, it's like a snowball. It just builds as it goes up.
Yes.
So,
well, you two young guys give me hope, and I wish we could clone you two and just put you out across all of America, well, in the world. And, you know, there's a lot of people, folks, with a lot of money, and they have an agenda, and everybody said, "But Greg, you're being too extreme to the right." And I'm like, no, I'm just being realistic. These folks want us to stop eating animals, and Connor, you hit on it. I mean, we are giving ourselves a bloody nose with all this. You know, they see it, they drive by it, they smell it, they see them, and they're like, ooh.
I don't want to eat that.
Yeah, I don't want to eat that beef. And so I wasn't gonna mention this, but you all brought it up, so it's your fault. I just got a magazine. I'm not gonna say what magazine it was, but they were bragging on there now Missouri's offering feedlot schools. Feedlot schools. And I'm like, wait a minute. Aren't the farmers going broke fast enough? Now we're going to teach them how to build a feedlot that loses money and destroys the environment, and we can do this? Why? We used to have grazing schools. University of Missouri used to offer grazing schools with Jim Garish. And there's one problem with that. There's no outside grant money coming in, because Jim was teaching us how to do this. And there's no big pharmaceutical or chemical company or seed companies that make a lot of money on this type of farming. And so Jim just kind of quit.
And that's why people like you can do it, because you get all the, you retain the profit.
Yeah,
That's why
exactly.
it's economical.
That's right. We're making a living on land, and now the university is teaching these farmers, oh, come and look at this. We're going to build a feedlot. And the article, I was just sick in my stomach when I got done reading. I'm like, are you kidding me? Aren't they going broke quick enough? And now we got a black eye already. Now we're going to build more feedlots? No, stop. Immediately, just stop. Stop. We need to stop. And we need to come back this direction. So those of you all thinking about building a feedlot, get out there and put some grass in that where you're growing your GMO soybeans, and put your cattle out on your land and
Start moving them.
And it's not going to take 10,000 acres for you to make a living. Yeah. You can make a living on 500 acres. You don't need 10,000. There's people in Kansas, I've read an article, 2 brothers work full-time in town. They're farming 10,000 acres and they can't make a living. They have to have off-farm jobs to supplement the farm. Now that's wrong. That's wrong. So we got to change
from here. Like if you can't, if you're, maybe you're living in town or something, and you want to have the access to, meat like this, but you don't know where to start. Do some research. There's the website Eat Wild.
Eatwild.com.
Different websites.
Yep.
There's another one too. I can't think of the name of it, but go on there and look up, and it'll have a list of farmers in your area that are doing these kind of practices. And go out to the farm, support the local farmers that are producing this beef, producing these vegetables. Anything that the farmers producing. Trying to heal the land and in a regenerative way or in a positive way. Go out there and support them, and it makes a difference.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can support. You can support this with every biteful you take.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's like what they say. You vote with your dollar.
Yes.
Wherever you spend your dollar, it's like a vote. If you're spending it in buying Doritos and in the store, that's like a vote that I want the society wants more Doritos. Whereas if you spend your money on grass-fed beef, you're voting with your dollars.
Yeah.
So
you're keeping a farmer on the land.
Yeah. I've heard the argument, oh well, that kind of stuff is so expensive, like getting that kind of food and whatnot is so expensive. And yeah, it kind of is, but if you think about it, like if you're buying like stuff that's gonna hurt you, I come at it from a health perspective, right? I studied kinesiology in college, and so like the stuff you put in your body affects you, whether or not you feel it like at the moment, like down the road it's gonna affect you. And so yeah, you're buying cheap food, but that's gonna affect your health later, and medical bills are way more expensive than healthy food, and I can tell you that for sure.
Yes.
I think Joel wrote an article, Joel Salatin, where he talked about I think it was 1940 or something, the food dollar to the medical dollar were flipped. Food was twice as expensive as people paid, for medical. And today it's the opposite. People pay half as much for food as they do for their medical bills. And it's like, come on, people, let's look at the statistics.
If you look at the gross domestic product of the United States, what's being spent on things, the medical is like 33%.
It's crazy.
I mean, what are we doing? We're making America very unhealthy by what we eat and what we're feeding them. Mm-hmm. Well, if they're eating what you guys get to eat, I mean, you two are just specimens, man. I'm going to brag on you. I mean, Connor, you're a specimen, man. And so are you, Isaac. You all are healthy, but you all don't. These two guys, we have a picnic or something, and I'll admit I'll binge sometimes, and I'll have a beer or maybe a soda. These guys won't even drink a darn soda pop. Well, Isaac, you'll drink a root beer sometime.
Once in a while, yeah.
But I mean, they're specimens. These guys are very, very healthy, and your body is like a temple. Whatever you put in it, you're gonna get the result from it. So, guys, we better stop. We can stop. We can keep on going. But I really appreciate y'all's time this morning. And for those of you all watching, I hope you all enjoyed this. And hit that subscribe button on the way out. And remember, visit Petition 13, Google it, from Oregon, and make your vote count. If you live in Oregon, you need to vote no on that, or you're going to be eating soy burgers the rest of your life. Y'all have a good one. Take care.